Hello, welcome to another dynamic do-it-yourself video. And today we're in the kitchen doing something a little special. We're going to make some sour gummy candy. And these are the ingredients we're going to use. We have a cup of frozen fruit. So you've got strawberries. We're going to need some gelatin. We're going to need some water. We're going to get to that at the stove. We have lemon juice. We have honey, we have some citric acid, and we have some sugar. Let's get started. First, we will take our frozen fruit, and I rinsed it off because it had some ice crystallizing on it. So I rinsed it off, strained it, and now I'm going to use my magic bullet. And we're going to puree this. If you have a food processor at home, this process will be very quick. Okay, so there we are, nice and tight. And now I'm going to puree this. And I gotta shake this up, get it going. Now we're going to puree this until it's very smooth, okay? I think we're about done here. So then, open it up. Wow, look at that. So you want to puree it so it's very smooth. Look at that. That's perfect. Next, we're going to take this to the stove. Okay, at the stove here, we will take 1/4 cup of water, and we will side here, take our puree, if you don't have a food processor at home, you can easily just use your blender in order to puree your fruit, okay? Make sure you defrost it first. It'll make the process so much easier. Okay, so that's our puree and our water. We also need 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. Sometimes if you're in an area where you can't get fresh lemon, there's nothing wrong with using store-bought lemon juice. Okay, so there's our 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And we need 2 tablespoons of honey. Okay, so here's our honey. Fresh. Just opened honey. Cute little bear, just adorable. All right, so now we're going to put 2 tablespoons of honey. Your heat should be, whoops, there we go. Okay, I had a technical fail. Honey does not spoil, and it's very good. It's antibacterial, so during the cold and flu season, if you have someone who has a sore throat, it's great to get that. Give them a tablespoon of it. Give them a tablespoon of it, and or put it in your tea, and it'll help with sore throats. Last but not least, I put in 1/3 cup of water. So that's what we have here on a medium heat. And you use a whisk, and you just go ahead and mix it up. Okay, constantly stirring it because you don't want it to burn. Okay. Once it gets to a nice warm consistency, like it is right now, I can see a little steam coming off of it. Nice simmer. We go to the next step. So I have my mixture here simmering while it's gently simmering, we're going to use some unflavored gelatin. And we are going to need 4 teaspoons. Oops, get that. Don't want it to start boiling. No. So 4 teaspoons of unflavored gelatin. So that's 1 teaspoon. And you want to constantly be stirring it, okay? Here's a fun fact. Actually, I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn off the heat for right now. But here's a fun fact. I heard that gelatin comes from an interesting natural source. What's that source and why is it a fun fact? Google it. Okay, so now we're done. And we are pouring our solution, our candy, our gummy candy, after it's well mixed, into a heat-proof cup. All right. So while it's in here, you want to go through it, and you want to make sure that you don't have any pits, any undissolved gelatin, you know. And the great way to do that is use cheesecloth. Cheesecloth is mostly a staple in most kitchens. It's not a staple in my kitchen because I always found a workaround. And the workaround here is my eyes and the spoon. So I'm looking through, and I had a fruit that didn't have like pits in it. Now, if you're using like blackberries, raspberries, something that have pits, you're going to need that cheesecloth because that will help filter those things out of your candy. Because if you're eating candy, not too many people want to crunch down on a seed. I don't think anyone does. So anyway, that looks good. I give it an A+ rating. Now I have these molds. Now silicone will be great because you don't want your candy to stick. These molds are used for when I make chocolates. So, but in order to make sure that this sticky, because chocolate is not as sticky as what we have here, our honey-based project, I am going to use cornstarch. I'm going to use a light dusting of cornstarch. Just sprinkle a little bit here. Okay, make sure your hands are clean when you're doing this. And you probably noticed this in some candies, especially when you go in the high-end stores where they have jelly candies. Those candies, and I know definitely they do this in the UK. I've seen it with some of their candies where they're actually coated with cornstarch. So we're using the cornstarch here basically just to make sure that it's not going to stick. So when we're done with our cooling time for this mixture, we can pop our candy out really easy. Looks like a mess, but it'll look even worse through digestion. That's right, I said it. Okay, so there we are. We have it nicely coated. I'm going to shake off this extra here. So we have it perfectly dusted. And we'll take our jelly candy and we'll fill it up, each one of our pieces up. After we fill this up, you're going to put it in the refrigerator. Probably leave it on the counter first, because sometimes when you put things in the refrigerator right when it's hot, the temperature change will definitely cause an unevenness in what you're trying to produce. So I would just suggest leaving this on the counter for a little bit maybe about an hour or so until it gets to room temperature, and then put it in your refrigerator. And once it's in the refrigerator, you leave it in there for 6 hours. So leave it overnight. And once you leave it in, what you're looking for are perfectly little gelled candies. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and come back to show you how we can make this into a nice, sour, delicious candy. Okay, we're back. After having our candy in the refrigerator overnight, today we're going to make the coating that will give it its sour punch. So we will need 1/2 cup of sugar. Okay, so we have our 1/2 cup of sugar. All right, and we will use our citric acid. We'll put in 1 teaspoon of citric acid. Now, citric acid is where you're going to get your sour taste from. So you're going to use as much or as little of this as you care to put on your candy. Some people like that really extra sour taste, and some people do not. I'm going to use a little spoon here to mix it up. Okay. All right, I'm going to put this aside here for a minute. Now let's take a look at our candy. So here's our candy. Okay, remember I used the cornstarch to make sure it doesn't stick. Let's see how well that worked. Okay, so I used a little knife here to loosen it up on the side. I don't know if you can see that there. Okay, now lift it up. Oh, it came out pretty nicely. There it is, very nice. Okay, so then just with this one piece, I'm going to put it in our mixture here. Spoon a little bit of the sour, sweet. Okay, and there you have it. Okay, so I'm going to give it to my assistant here, Mr. Tank. As you've seen Tank in our, say Tank. While Tank is off camera taking a taste, I'm going to continue freeing these up. Okay, Tank, what do you say? What's the verdict?
Tastes good. It tastes like those fruit buns that we tried on channel a bit ago on Tasty Finds. It kind of tastes like that. I think it could use a bit more citric acid because it wasn't very sour.
Okay, so he has said that he thinks it needs to be a little bit more sour. Let me try it just as it is. Sour enough for me. Okay, so like I said, it depends where your taste level is. So I hope you found this helpful. The recipe for this, you'll find it down below. If you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And you know what? Hit that like button. The more you hit that like button, the more I will come up in other people's news feed of interest. So just a side note, if you make a lot of this, put it in a nice, well-sealed container, and it should last for at least a week. Okay? All right, until next time.